everybody. I feel like we.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, I'm Rachele Evers, and
I'm Cassandra Evers,
and we are here in a new format, trying to bring you all the know-it-all information that we have about real estate in Southeast Michigan. I'm sorry, in the entire state of Michigan. I just happen to sit in Southeast Michigan.
Thank you. I'm in Southwest Michigan, so we'll do the whole mitten.
We have to kind of get this out of the way, right? Because this is kind of what we're all about. I feel like these are our real estate goggles.
Yep.
And we're just gonna,
this is my real estate. This is my lender goggle.
Oh, well, then hold on. Then here's my real estate, and here's my, how can I make this crooked? This is my lender, because I fucked that stuff up.
You just pick your nose with the lender one. That's fair.
Right.
That
is fair. I'm just trying to stay in my lane. That's all. So this is our 61st episode, and we decided to switch it up a little bit and try and bring you maybe a little bit more refined content. So here we go. Let us know what
I don't know about that.
Well, I do. I mean, it'll be a little more.
We're bringing it to you in a more refined fashion. Yes.
Yeah. Still the same know-it-all lectures and arguments, agreements, and disagreements. We try to keep it dynamic. So our topic for today, and there was an I'm going to work on those. Bzz, I'm going to buzz myself when I
Bzz, and I will buzz yourself too, because you also did a.
See? We're honing my speaking skills at the same time. See what the results turn out to be like.
What a great podcast you've chosen to listen to today. I question your skills as a human.
Well, hey, we do have a good topic.
We do.
Our topic today I don't even know how to summarize it. More umming has to do with buyers walking away from a deal over $1,000 something, like literally, or getting in sellers' their own way,
or sellers walking away from a sale over something minuscule.
Yes, the psychology and manipulation that goes on when purchasing or selling a home, and of course, are there legitimate reasons to walk away from a home purchase? Absolutely. But what we see out in the wild is people getting emotional and mad and walking away from the dream house, the 10. Like, we've looked at dozens. None of them are quite right. We found the right one. And there's a $200 problem and nobody will budge. It's crazy.
So I got statistics, as I am wont to do, which we can talk about. Are you ready?
I really want to give you a gold star for that sentence.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I have a whole bunch of statistics, but I'll just go little piece by piece. We can talk about them. So 40% of people surveyed said buying a home is the most stressful thing they've ever done in their entire life. 60% of people say moving is one of the most stressful events in their entire life. And 33% of people buying homes cry during the process.
Wow.
Which hurts my heart knowing that people are that stressed.
It wouldn't happen to be tears of joy, would it? Did it?
It was not presented in that fashion. I never saw tears of joy. Okay. But to keep in mind, for people, it's totally normal to be stressed out. But if you have a good team, we've seen it before. Right? Yes. You've seen every problem. I've seen just about every lender problem.
Hold on. Every time I say that, I get a new problem that I've never seen before.
But if you haven't seen it before, do you have a network of people who have seen it? And I've got a network of people I can fall back on too. Like, hey, how am I solving this? So I wish people would keep that in mind, that yes, it's stressful, but if you have a team surrounding you, hopefully it seems kind of like a boring process.
Yeah.
But you wanted to talk to so I just wanted to lay the groundwork for some of the emotional volatility that leads to people walking for $1,000 with some hard numbers. Go ahead.
Well, as you know, all of these conversations always come out of real life stuff. And I have a kind of an interesting situation with a buyer who this is what triggered the topic. And it doesn't fit the narrative exactly, because this person actually wasn't walking away from a property over a couple $100, but the weird emotional manipulation that was going on, that of course I could see clearly as an outsider, right? I'm very much like a therapist or a bartender in a lot of situations that have to do with walking someone through a home purchase.
Sure.
I have this buyer who found what she claimed. So I have my clients rate their properties on a scale of 1 to 10. This helps
And you
me.
can't pick 7.
That's right. The rule is on a scale of 1 to 10, what is this house for you based on price, location, condition, and what you're looking for in budget, right? The 3 circles. And the client can't pick 7. That helps keep them out of the weeds, because everybody wants to pick 7 on a house that they could make work. And it's a freaking trap. You should never be buying a house that you could make work, because you can make them all work with enough money or putting up with enough shit, like settling in so many ways.
Sure.
So fast forward to this one client. We looked at so many houses, and her personal and emotional situation is at play largely. So she finds this house anyway. I can never tell a short story. She finds this freaking house. It's a 9. She's lit up. I can see it. I'm watching her light up like a Christmas tree. This house is this one. And that's what it looks like when people find the one. It's very much like watching someone fall in love. It may not logically match the things they told me on the list they needed, but it's the one. And this is why we play the 1 to 10 game. She chooses this house. We write an offer on this house, get it under contract, of course, and because I write good offers. And after the inspection, she decides she doesn't want this house anymore. And so I'm probing, and she's giving me words that are logical reasons that are, she can point to the inspection and be like, this wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But I promise you, no matter what house you buy, you're going to have you do an inspection, you're going to get 37 pages of everything that's wrong with that house. And I see people every day with really scary reports go, yep, no problem. I love this house. I'll take it. Just like that. Every day. What I think actually happened is she made this decision. She loves this house. And some of her family members didn't love this house. And they're going to be living in the house with her, I think off of her to some degree. And it's really hard to watch, right? Like, because she's not going to perform on this purchase because somebody else got in her head and had her doubting her 9 or 10 because they don't like it.
Is this like why you don't tell the name of your child until the baby is born and named, so that people don't shit on it?
All the
Cuthbert,
time. Yep.
I apologize.
That's okay. I feel like I may have dodged a bullet there. But yeah, so what she's talking about, you guys, is, if you are, it's a pregnancy story, but when I was pregnant with my first kid, I wouldn't tell anybody what I was naming the kid, because it's much easier to introduce your child and say, hey, this is Cuthbert, and then people can have whatever opinion. But if you say first, I'm thinking about naming my child Cuthbert, they might go, what are you going to do? Name him Cuthbert? Huh? Cassandra.
I mean, to be fair.
But seriously, people, you say I'm going to name my child Bethany, and they're going to be like, oh, there was this bitch I went to school with in 6th grade named Bethany. Same with the house. They will pick it the fuck apart. And with family, they will pick it apart because they think they're protecting you. Dads like to walk through houses and go, well, these windows look like they're 20 years old. This house is too big for you. I don't know about that roof. It's like the dad job. It's protection. They think they're helping you. But if that's the only house they're looking at with you, they have no context, and you do.
Right. They can take all of the heat and joy, that fire right out of you with a single conversation and just bring you to deflation.
Yeah. And we're kind of rabbit trailing a little bit. The original topic at hand looks something like write an offer on a property, do the inspection, it's a 10, say you're going to ask the seller to, I don't know, Cassandra, give me an example.
I just had one where there was peeling paint on basement walls and it was a little wet down there, right? There was some signs of water.
Item, we're in Michigan. We are a giant swamp. They're all wet. If they're not, it's coming. It's just part of it. Sorry.
Fuck, mine's dry. Come on, man. But it's giving me some bad juju. Anyway, the guy was under contract. the appraisal comes back and the appraiser says, there's a broken window down, a crappy window in the basement. It looks like there's evidence of wetness. You might want to have the foundation checked or check the gutters, right? Make sure they're floating correct. And there's some peeling paint down there and the house is 100 years old. It might have lead in it. These things should probably be fixed. And the buyer didn't even go back to the seller and give them the opportunity to fix it. He took that opportunity to say absolutely not. And I thought, if you think you're going to find another $140,000 house in Weberville that doesn't have these issues, you're crazy.
Yep.
It's of those 3 circles, but that one was the
camera's really far away, but I drew it.
Yes. Price, location, and
condition and style of house.
And condition and style.
Only ever.
Yep. So he had location and price, but not condition.
And location is the only one that will never change.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah. But what she's talking about on the people, the stress and people walking away, oftentimes it's a disagreement over a repair. It's a disagreement over purchase price. If you're just starting out, it's the perfect house and you're like, I want to get it for a deal. Like you mentally think you are in Tijuana trying to get chiclets and you're going to get them for a nickel and not a quarter. Like, the bartering situation.
That is, and that I want to hug you for that example because it's perfect. The context that you're buying a house in is a huge player. And what you're talking about is like the emotional desire to scratch the itch of negotiating. Mm-hmm. People will write an offer on a property, lock down the property like you won. It's your dream. And it's almost like people panic and go, wait, you mean I won? Shit,
I won? Do I have to do anything?
I must have offered too much. Now I want to take it back. And it's psychology.
10% of people have buyer's remorse in the numbers after moving in. And I don't know if that's, it's good to win.
And moving into the house, really?
After moving in, 10% do. So, I mean, we could rabbit trail into winning by $5,000 and how that changes your monthly payment by $15 a month, right? Yeah. Do you want to have like the house that ticks all the boxes for an extra $15 a month? Yes or no? Is it worth it? Do you have to negotiate? There's so many like the mental fuckery that people do with their own head of what they are willing to accept is nuts.
Yeah. Say that again because I had a thought and I lost it. It just went.
No, I'll move on.
It was good though.
So part of what I think about the stress and why people walk, right? That's the fear of winning, right? That's why people, with the challenges, the fear of disappointing family member, the stress already. One of the things that I read, people are very stressed because the process is almost completely outside of their hands. And I'd never thought about that before. There is you, there is the seller, we talked about this the other day. We listed all the people. There are probably 30 people working, all running towards the same goal. Yes. And the buyer, for the most part, gives up some documents to get to the finish line too, but there's nothing that they can do, right? Other than react to what they're requested.
That's really interesting because I'm thinking about other places that this same dynamic, this same expression shows up in people after they're in a contract with your pre-approval. I'm giving this as an example.
Sure.
And then they start shopping for a different mortgage company. And that can really slow down your process, put you into a position of not being able to perform on your contract and confuse you and everything, right? They start shopping. Rate shopping is the example we always use.
Well, I just
not performed because of 0.25% or some weird nonsense.
I don't know. I'm sure somewhere somebody has, but it wasn't really that. It's just so I read that I saw heard somebody describe it as buying a home, right? It's very stressful. And one of the reasons it's stressful is because buying a home is a bunch of tiny tasks that are done all at once in a very short period of time. However, owning a home, if you've owned one, you know this. If you're a first-time buyer, this is good to know. Owning a home is a bunch of tiny or large tasks spread out over many, many years,
Yes.
right? It took me 8.5, 9 years to paint the ceilings.
I just pulled out my 20-year-old
But there was no
carpet.
stress. Exactly. So there's things with both. There's reasons they're stressful, but I think people are oftentimes they psych themselves out. But if you have a good team there, I've had people tell me buying a house, thanks, Cassandra, this was the most boring purchase ever.
Yes, that's how we know
Like,
we're winning.
that's how I know I've won. If you think that I didn't earn a penny and it was so easy. And
did it right.
why do people even complain about buying a home? Man, you better fucking get on that shit and give me a 5-star review, because that is not everybody's experience based on surveys, right?
Mm-hmm. So, what kind of action? We usually give a good tip that somebody can use. I would say go into it knowing what you're after.
Well, so
I think it can help.
It's hard for. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. No, I will not. You go ahead.
I was going to say it's very difficult for me to give any tips because I'm at the end. You are dealing with, you as a realtor are the emotional support animal of the buyers and the sellers.
So true. That is so true. Meow.
And I get it after they've already been through therapy.
My cat's eyes. I'm an emotional support cat.
Yeah. Like you've already held their hand through so much. So I can speak to like the end numbers and tell people, it's, I don't want anybody to move in broke. You should have a cushion afterwards, right? I can talk with them about what's normal before you go out. And I do that now, especially in the last year. So I can.
It's so funny that you're talking about this. When
Why?
I was a new agent, because when I was a new agent and I didn't know any better and I thought I was just selling houses, helping people buy houses, I would meet anybody anywhere and just start unlocking doors. And that led to some really frustrated buyer clients. And that led to 30, 60, 90 house tours before one got chosen. Yeah. Talk about like, it was worse than trying to pick out a box of cereal in the cereal aisle. I don't even go down there anymore. It's so overwhelming. So now I do a buyer consult. I don't force anybody to do it, but I offer it because it helps the buyer stop, think about, and clarify what they're up to and why. And often I have multiple buyers. If I have a partnership where people are going to be living together, having them talk with me about their expectations, goals, desires, and dream house, often we uncover he thought we were buying this, she thought we were buying that, and we can clear that up on the front end, and it leads to way less frustrated walking away over a $250 repair. Right?
Yeah.
I have had a situation, it's cleared up now, but I had a situation where a buyer was suing a seller post-closing over a $300 microwave. Lawsuit over a $300 microwave. And I promise you there was something else going on there because...
Did you find out what that thing was?
Here's what no, because I only represented one client, and I'm trying to not disclose too much pertinent information, but the situation was there was a microwave that was under warranty and supposed to be repaired or replaced by the company that manufactured the product. The buyer at walkthrough knew that a replacement microwave was coming. It hadn't been resolved by closing, so $300 was negotiated before consummation, and the seller gave the buyer $300 to cover that deficiency, if you will. Post-closing, the seller found out that the microwave company couldn't remediate and instead paid the seller for the microwave. So then they sued them for a microwave, even though they got $300, because they thought that the $300 was just because it didn't work. It's like, do you see how fucking in the weeds we are about this stupid $300 microwave and the money had changed hands?
The borrower thought it was
Thing is
$300
flapping.
and they were waiting for the new microwave. And then they found out the seller got paid, so the seller wasn't out anything.
So they got mad about it, and the seller got paid
Got
like
it.
$420. So this became a lawsuit over $120. Now, I don't know about you, but I can be really petty when I'm really mad about something that I haven't unpacked and looked at.
You want to get into it? We
Because
can find a thing. Let's do it.
Fucking A. But for $120, I'm better off just going on with my life. You know? I don't know.
Yeah, some of that I worry in the contentiousness. Maybe it was too easy of a purchase and they were like, I gotta get riled up here.
Yeah, gotta find something. And so that's in it too. It's that whole like people come in often with a wired desire to negotiate. Oh, this is what I was trying to think of earlier when I asked you to repeat yourself. The more back and forth you have in any negotiation, the less likely it is to come together. Just whatever you think of the show, whatever you think of me and my opinions, just take this piece of free fucking advice. If you want something, just, buy it. Resist the urge to scratch the itch of saying, well, if I think this $600,000 house, I want it for $585. So if I offer them $550, they'll come back at this. Like, I promise you, you're just fucking yourself in the long run. Like, be
that's
real,
fair.
be straight. And the more you ask for this, they respond with this, and then you come back with this, and then they're thinking you're annoying, so they're digging in their heels a little bit, and you're like, well, they're not even budging, and like then nobody gets what they want.
Well, I've tried to. So I'll tell buyers. So for any buyers who are out there listening, and I try to do this to help realtors. Right? I haven't bought a house in 10 years. I have helped people buy 100 homes a year. Yes. I'm probably pushing 1,000 or something like that. So yay me. However, listen to your realtor who knows the market, who can help negotiate for you. Like for sure. And then I have an idea, right? I only see the winning contracts, right? I only see the winning ones. So if I'm telling you, hey, I've seen 100 winners, right? Where people got the house. Everyone was over list price. 0 of them had seller concessions, right? Matter of fact, you have to pay for your own transfer taxes and your owner's policy.
And to be clear, she's not saying these things are true, but in certain contexts, they have been true.
Absolutely. So if I'm saying these are what I see in every single one, or everyone has one of these, right? One of these components. So keep that in mind as you go shopping. For the fucking love of God, don't go in there and be like, I'd like to offer 5,000 under because I think it's underpriced and I would like seller concessions. Dude. You're just fucking get on Zillow and swipe around. Like,
can I tell you about my rural development buyer who wants concessions on houses that just came on the market day one, and in like the context, like that. Oh my God. I'm a little bit overwhelmed by what my brain is doing right now, because
I'm overwhelmed by them thinking they can get it. Did their lender tell them they needed concessions?
So here,
yes, they did.
I'm just going to walk sideways around this and say, when you said, listen to your realtor, if the winning offers all have this, you can still win a bid with less than perfect offer terms, but the inventory that you want to look at to win those bids can't be 1 day old.
And it's smaller inventory.
Or it's older. So
right.
if you think it's overpriced because it's been on the market for 2 weeks, but you're coming in with a contingent purchase agreement and you need concessions, like the sellers are going to be more open to entertaining your offer because you've got some strings attached, because nobody else wants it. I don't know. See, I feel like the language I don't want to get off topic. Language I'm choosing is not really representative of what really happens. Like, it's not bad. It just is what it is.
So we'll just keep in mind this. We know the stress is there. We've seen it before. We've probably lived through it. If we haven't, we know somebody who has, or we can find out how to get through it.
let me just tell you the story of me buying my house because I offered, this was a totally different time, but I offered like $5,000 below asking price or maybe 10, and they came back 4, and I accepted it, and then it appraised like 1,000 under, and I remember thinking, well, if they won't adjust the price, I'm not buying that house. It was a fucking $1,000. What a ding dong. Like, seriously.
Well, when we bought this house 10 years ago, literally a week before closing, there was the discussion of just walking away because the cash due at closing was more. And mind you,
what you had been estimated.
Correct.
Estimated.
As the estimated amount.
Yeah, that's a
it was
super
more than
word.
what we had said. And the best part is it, you know whose fault it was? I mean, I won't lay blame. It's because instead of closing in October, we closed in November. Rachel, what changes in November?
Your tax prorations.
My taxes, my homestead exemption went away, and I had to fund all of December's, that whole winter bill plus 6 extra months, right, at the higher rate. So there was all this stuff, and it was a mental and when I say we, I'll say I'm going to throw my sugar under the bus. It was Adam, because he's the one who bought the house on the mortgage and was like, I'm not fucking signing on that house. And I was like, what? We got 2 kids to move in. We are fucking buying that house. How much do you need? Let me find the money. But it was a very emotional and volatile reaction because it wasn't explained to him correctly. And to be fair, you don't fucking spring like $5,000, or you say, hey, if we don't close by October 31st, you will owe $5,000 extra on November 1st. Like, that communication is key.
Dude,
it wasn't there.
And super important. This is one of those things that, people buy houses 5 to 7 times in their life. I just made that up. It feels right. Feels
That's
like
about right.
Something like that every 7-ish years, 7 to 10 maybe. It's one of those things that even if it's explained to you while you're doing it, it may make sense while you're doing it, but when you go to do it again, you're probably not going to remember that your closing costs are mostly just you paying your own bills all at once. There are a few like fees for service in there, but closing costs is a big one that people get, like in your example, they get mad about and walk away. What?
Nothing.
Walk away, but they get like, what the heck?
So what I would really love, like from a lender standpoint, I would like the down payment itemized. I would like the escrow, taxes and insurance, like in their entirely separate fucking realm of shit.
Because
I don't know.
It's a separate bucket.
And it goes
paying your own shit.
And everybody, it's going to be the same no matter what lender you use. And then the rest of the stuff is really like what should be closing costs, but people lump it all together. Rachel, I've sent out loan estimates, and this is on me, where people go, I owe this plus the down payment. And I go, the number is like $23,000. Do you think you owe, $15,000 on top of that 20,000? Like, so that's
people don't know. All they know in their head is they heard that the closing costs, their friend bought a house and the closing costs, which sounds like a cost. I guess if I'm giving away free advice, I would just say, like, be mindful of why you're doing what you're doing.
And I would say lean on the people who are there to help you through the process, alleviate some of the stress, because we do this all the time.
Yes.
And can help.
Absolutely. And so I'm also going to add in, and I tell my clients this all the time, I may advise, like, if you're like, I don't know, how could I even give an example for this? I guess what my point is context matters. I know. But the advice I give a client writing an offer on a property on day 1 that it was on the market is different than the advice I would give a client on a property that's been on the market for 2 weeks, or a property that's been on the market for 45 days.
Does it depend?
That's our favorite words. It depends.
It depends.
It does.
So have a good team. Surround yourself with good people who are honest with you. Listen to their advice. The stress should be minimal. And remember to try to get out of your own way and remember why you're doing this.
That's right.
You guys, if you want to get a hold of me or Rachel, both of our contact info is going to be in the episode show links. It was great to spend time with you.
See you next week.